Everybody, welcome back to the Quiet Time Podcast with Bennie Fowler Jr. and Bennie Fowler the third. We are back here to talk about some more amazing things and continue to share conversations with you guys that we think are important and touch on subjects that we have some expertise in. So we'll get started today.
Hey, what's going on, Bennie? What's going on, everybody? It's good to see you again. Good to, be back on the air. Having a little conversation with you, Bennie. One of the things that I've been thinking about a lot, and this is probably something people think about is always situations. I'll call it. Sometimes the overarching thing is winning, but it's situational. Sometimes you can go into a situation where everything's great, and people wanted to stay great. Sometimes you can go into a situation where things are good and people want them to be great. And then sometimes you can go into a situation where things are not so good and people want them to turn around to be good and then ultimately be great. And you can phrase that in terms of how do you actually make good teams better, great, and how do you actually make losing teams winning. And it's something I really wanted to, kind of talk to you about, because I know you've been in different situations before, as an individual in school or an individual in the league. And I mean, obviously, I've been in situations where in business and in sports where teams are good, and when you just want to make them better, want to have an impact. So, it's just something that's been on my mind lately. And I think based upon the times that we're in, these are things that I think are important elements to talk about. So I just wanted to ask you, as you think about this whole topic, what might you share with me? Because I just wanted to, kind of, see what's on your mind about this whole topic.
I mean, there's a lot of different things. I mean, you brought up three or four different things. When you're on a winning team, I guess thinking about it like that is, when I joined the Broncos my first year, that was already a winning team. So it was we were very direct from approach from the top down on what the goal was and what the goal we knew we could achieve, which is the Super Bowl, because of the team that was put together in free agency, put together through the draft. My rookie year, we had signed Emmanuel Sanders. It was Wes Welker's second year. I think it was Peyton's third year there. Signed TJ Ward, signed DeMarcus Ware, signed Akeem Talib. So that team was all about, we had to win a championship. That's what the main goal was. When you sign players like that, players of that nature, that was one of those teams that was great, trying to be even greater and win the ultimate prize of winning the Super Bowl. Julius Thomas was on that team. The team was just very well constructed. Ryan Clady. I think my rookie year we had like 12 or 13 Pro Bowlers. So that was an incredible team. And that was one of the situations that you just talked about, which was going good or going from great and continuing to try to stay great. And I remember we were maybe 7-0 at the time, 8-0 at the time, and we lost maybe one or two games. And John Elway came down there and addressed the team like, this is not the way you're supposed to be playing. And that's what kind of showed me the way that this team was constructed, that we had to win this year. Even though we didn't win that year, that's kind of how the team was set up. And that's just kind of the importance on that team. And ultimately we end up winning the Super Bowl the next year. But, situations with the Giants and Bears that I've played with, those teams were good teams trying to take a step towards greatness, and a lot of great players on all of those teams and trying to get things to go together. But it's hard in an NFL season to turn things like that around, and everything has to be moving forward, and you have to kind of get a rhythm. But, that's kind of, the NFL has always have good, I think all teams in the NFL, regardless of record, are good because these players are always at the top of their game. So it's really just about the rhythm and everybody staying healthy to go from good to great. But when I was playing with the Broncos the first couple of years, those teams were already great. So we were just trying to take the next steps. And it's just little small errors or little small margins that you have to pay attention to when you're on a winning team, or if you're on a losing team trying to win. It's really just small things, small steps that you have to take every single day.
Okay. Then can you talk a little bit about your strategy, so coming in and, you've been on different types of teams. So, what did you actually do coming in? How did it change your mindset really quickly going into that environment with the Broncos? I remember we were sitting on the couch and going through the draft, and there were certain things that we were thinking about. I thought you were going one place, and then you eventually said, "Hey, I'm going to Denver." I mean, I looked at the roster; there was a bunch of receivers there, and I thought, okay, well, and he obviously sees something I don't see because I don't really understand, what were happening. But you and your agent talked about it, and then, just as quickly as you were sitting on the sofa, you had packed your bag, and you were on a plane headed to Denver. And then you get into that situation. So, that was kind of a challenging time just to watch you go through that situation and, kind of observe it. So really just wanted to know, like, day one, what happened when you stepped off the plane. Give me a little bit about the mindset, your approach, and, the kind of day-by-day grind of what it was. And eventually you got to a certain point, and then you went to the practice squad, and then you decided to do something different in the fall. Maybe you could just, touch a little bit about that, because there's two things we're going to be talking about is what happens with the team and the expectation, then what happens with individuals. And I don't know if you can't talk about all the other individuals, but you can talk about yourself in terms of how do you enter into that championship environment and what that's like in terms of your maturity, your maturation, your preparation. If you could share a little bit of that, that would be great.
Yeah. The reason why I went to Denver is because it wasn't about what you could see on the roster or what anybody else could see. It's about what I saw. And it's a chance to play with Peyton Manning. I mean, you get a chance to play with Peyton Manning, you can play anywhere in the league. So it wasn't about going or staying in Detroit, because they were offering me the most money. It wasn't about that. That's what was comfortable for everybody around me. But it was comfortable for me to go there and play with Peyton and actually learn. All those receivers on the roster I learned from. And that's what you need when you're first coming into a new organization. You need mentors. You need to learn from people. Sometimes going to a place where you can play right away isn't necessarily the best thing, especially when you're going into the NFL. But walking into Denver, the expectations were high. So you had to be on your P's and Q's at all time. You had to be paying attention. And that was just kind of my mindset going in. I don't think I had the right mindset going in. I was thinking I was kind of playing not to lose, just trying to just be on the practice squad and not make any mistakes. Yes, I got to that destination, but I should have been achieving or striving to play on Sundays when I look back and think about it. But that mindset probably changed throughout the year, quickly changed going into the next year as I made the team and led the team in preseason in receiving. But you have to be on your P's and Q's when you're playing with a guy like Peyton. And when you get a chance to see somebody like that work, then you can really see what it takes to be an exceptional player in your field. Yes, you can see other high performers in other situations, but when you get a chance to actually be around somebody who at the time was a 16-year NFL vet coming off the most incredible passing season ever in NFL history, and then you get a chance to be on his team, it's awesome. But yeah, your attention to detail and everything that I learned throughout that year. I learned how to be a pro throughout that year from guys like Demaryius Thomas, Julius Thomas, Wes Welker, Peyton, Emmanuel Sanders. All those guys on offense I learned so much from, and that all carried over into my training that next season, my mindset that next season, and then making that team and then contributing on that team in big ways throughout the regular season and in the playoffs and then in the Super Bowl. So when you're when I got off that plane in Denver, I didn't really know what I was expecting. You're kind of nervous and looking around, trying to see and trying to make friends on the team, but also take care of your job every single day. But you have to have goals. And my mindset was kind of just really to do anything I could to stand out. And whatever that may have been, on special teams or showing up to practice every day and staying healthy. That's kind of what my goal was.
Has that changed now? As you've been in the league now for going on your 7th year, has that changed with your approach? As let's say the last couple of years, how has that changed a little bit?
Sometimes I have gotten away from it, and those times that I've gotten away from it, well, really just the one time I've gotten away from it, which was in Chicago, where I didn't have the right diet, the right mindset going into the season. I got cut, and it was unfortunate. But but me putting myself on the sidelines and then getting signed with New England and getting the chance to be back with Tom Brady or see Tom Brady work, it brought me back to that same mindset that I had and what got me into the league. So now that happening, I don't ever go into a season unprepared, but it's kind of how life is. You have to understand what got you there and what's going to keep you there. What got you there won't keep you there, but you have to continue to add things to the offseason every single day, every single year.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you talk about that, and I just think about some of the great teams that I've been a part of, as an athlete. I just remember, my freshman year in college, my college coach sent me a workout plan of what I was supposed to be doing in the summer to get ready to play. And, so I just come off of, 19, 20 point average in high school, was a great pitcher. I had achieved a lot of accolades. So I've kind of, you're the biggest man on campus. I was running up for the athlete of the year in the city. So I just decided that, I started a workout plan. I played a lot of basketball in the summer, but I didn't do the training that the coaches really asked me to do going in. And I remember getting on campus and really we started workouts probably October 1st. And I probably, by the time I got there and got onto the field, I was wearing a $180. Coming out of high school, and by the time I went home for Christmas, I was weighing 205. So I picked up 25 pounds, and I can't say that it was all muscle. And I do remember at that time, luckily they had freshman teams back in 1974, to kind of date myself. In 1974, they had freshman team in basketball. So rather than travel with the varsity team, I'm on the freshman team, and then they went to a Christmas tournament in Michigan, and I went back home to Augusta, Georgia, and happened to explain to all of my friends why some of my guys that I went to high school with, which were going to the same school, were not there, and I'm back here kind of practicing with the guys at the high school. That being said, it wasn't a real good feeling to go from the top of the mountain to kind of the bottom of the totem pole, and I think we've had conversations before around what it's like when you learn the fact that there's a lot of other guys that have the same skills when you come out of your local environment and you go into a more what I call national environment where a lot of great players are coming together, and now you're on par because they can all shoot, and in many cases they're stronger than you. And I remember coming back out of that, I didn't like the feeling of not making the varsity team. I went home for the better part of 2.5, 3 weeks. And I just dedicated myself to trying to get myself in top-notch condition and try to get my shot back, because I'd really lost my shooting eye, on the basis of the fact that I was having a hell of a time getting up and down the court because I weighed a lot more, and I was having a time getting my lift on my jump shot because, I still weighed a lot more and I wasn't really in condition to do it. And so I just decided that I was going to try to change the set of circumstances that I was in. I went home for the Christmas holidays. I spent a lot of time in the gym, a lot of times out running. It was not the greatest of weather back there, but running in the rain, and it wasn't really what I'll call freezing in Augusta, but it was it's still, where you had to wear more than one layer of thing to get out there and get on the track and get in shape. Went back at the end of my at the beginning of the second semester, and I became the sixth man. And then the following year, going into the summer, I started to train with with one of my partners that was 2 years older than me, going at the same school, and I went on the same training regimen that he did. And I remember him telling me, okay, we need to get some combat boots. They used to have these black lace-up combat boots where you would, tie them up, and you go around the airstrip. There was an airstrip in Augusta called Bush Field, and I'd start at one of my friend's house, and we run around the airstrip. And I can remember the first couple of times I went down there, that damn near killed me, because I just had not trained as hard as what he was training. First of all, carrying them boots that was actually 2 or 3 pounds on, and then 85, 90 degree weather in the shade, hot humidity. Training was something that I had not experienced, even though we had done a lot of running as a part of a high school inside of a very small gym. And just that preparation, both the physical parts of it and the mental challenges that you face, really just trying to say, I'm not going to be left on the side of the road, and I'm not going to be sitting out here throwing up. It's just something that it etches in your mind. And I remember going back to my sophomore year and becoming a starter, and went on to become a Hall of Fame player as a part of Central State, and played in 3 national championships, NAIA national championships while we were there. So from that, you really learn that your mindset is different, that you have to prepare differently if you really want to be a part of elite teams. And certainly, I didn't really like experience even being a sixth man when I had, pretty much started all my life. So, I was aiming to do everything I could to be a part of the contributing members and to have an impact on that team. So, I think I understand that from a team start, and everything you're talking about the goals, the mentorship, and the perspective in terms of always preparing yourself to be a part of big moments and big situations. So, something that everybody, it's just how you prepare. And I think that's translated over into my business life, just being a part of teams. And I remember my last one, which is probably one of the most special situations I've been in. It didn't start off that way, and thinking of being a part of a team that had, selected to be a part of a team that had lost $12.6 billion in 1 year. And, being selected to be on the team of individuals, 11 or 12 of us from around the globe, brought together to resurrect that situation. And at that time, Bill Ford was the CEO, and then later he turned the baton over to a guy by the name of Alan Mulally. And for some of you, this story might be real to you, because there's a book called The American Icon. It's a transformation story of the Ford Motor Company and this team, which I was playing on, led by Alan Mulally, in the fight to save a global icon. And I was a part of one of those teams that was a part of that team that was put together to resurrect this situation. And the very first day, things are different, because now you walk into the situation, there's a certain way that the team is formatted. And one of the things that we believed in is that we were going to select the best team members to play every position. You may not be playing the position you want to play at the time, but this is the position that we want you to play, because it's a part of the whole team that we're putting together to do what we want to do. The goals were clear. We had needed to turn that situation around from a profitability standpoint. Otherwise, there were going to be a lot of people that were going to be hurt from it. A lot of people were hurt as a result of the fact that we had lost a lot of money. So therefore, that there's going to be a challenge in terms of keeping everything that you may want to keep. You got to make choices. And then every day, in terms of coming together to the team meetings, being prepared to play, we had Thursday meetings every morning. There was a certain standard of the way the information had to be presented, right down to the font size. And there's an expectation that if you were a player chosen to play at that position, you were expected to win. And, the leader was fairly, always seemed to have a smile on his face, no matter what it was. But in just looking at the individual, if you thought that smile was, something that you would get lulled to sleep, you missed the whole point. He was dedicated. He was focused. He was prepared. He studied the trade. He was in it. He was very keen on understanding the external environment, and he was great on building relationships, and he expected everybody to play their positions. What we said about preparing to be on great teams, and whether they be in sports or in business. So, I just really wanted to kind of talk that over with you today and see what your thought process was. And, as you look forward to being on a great team as you are now, seems great organization, great team, great city, great quarterback. Seems like you're set to win. How you feeling right now? You feeling good? How you doing?
I feel great. And it's awesome. And it's awesome to be on that team and be on this team. I heard you say a lot of things about being clear, and he was precise and direct. And that's what the best teams have. They have clear goals. They have clear missions. They know exactly what they want to do, and they're ready for what they want to do, but they're also ready to adapt. And I think that's one of the best things about great teams is that they have their mission and they're focused, but they are ready for the obstacles that come about, and they're ready to maneuver and ready to adapt to situations in real time. And when you talk about Alan Mullally coming in there and helping people understand, even though if you didn't like that role, from what I hear from you saying that, even if you didn't like your role, he helps you understand the importance of your role and made you feel good about it. And then everybody was able to play their role, and you're able to turn a company around. And that's what's important about individuals on winning teams is if the leader helps you understand your role, then you'll be able to embrace it. And then having to put your ego and pride aside for the betterment of the team, because ultimately it's going to help you become better and the team better. So I think that's incredible. It's an incredible story, and that's an incredible way to put things. And I think people can understand that perspective, especially individuals on winning team. Who needs your A game right now? That's kind of one of the ways I think about when I play now is who needs my A game? The team I'm playing on needs my A game. The quarterback needs my A game. My fiance needs my A game. My family needs my A game. That helps me when things get tough or there are situations that come up. So who needs your A game? Who do you have to be right now? Even if sometimes it's hard for yourself to get motivated, who needs you?
Yeah, I love that, Benny. It's dedicated time at the task where compromise cannot be a consideration. So really love, your thought process and your approach. And, obviously just hearing you talk about it just kind of continues to put things in perspective for me. In terms of, just taking it one day at a time and continuing trying to be the best individual, be the best father, be the best friend, and being the best leader, given the opportunity to, take that next step again.
Yes, sir. No doubt. Everybody, thank you for tuning in to the Quiet Time podcast, where we talk about individuals on winning teams and what you need to do to be successful. Join us back here next week, every Tuesday. Thank you, guys. You are with Bennie Fowler Jr. and Bennie Fowler III.